Welcome.
Thanksgiving weekend, and we are so excited for one big Journey family gathering, and we're going to do a little pre-show. We're going to have some fun this morning.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, this weekend is definitely going to look a little different than gathering in person, but we can guarantee that it is going to be great. Now, it's not too late to go ahead and invite someone to check this gathering out right now by sharing this on social media. That invite challenge is still happening, so head back to our last post on social media and tag everyone that you know. It's not too late. You have up until 10 a.m. to get those tags in.
You got like a few more minutes, and there's a prize. You forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget the prize?
So that's why you got to invite everybody that you know, and we're going to have a little fun this morning. We think, it's Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to take a couple of minutes and talk about what we're grateful for. So right now in the chat, we would love for you to share with us, what are you grateful for this Thanksgiving weekend? We've asked some of you on social media. We have some things we're going to share with you, but Anthony, what are you thankful for this year?
For me, it's definitely going to be my family, just being healthy and having the opportunity to gather together for Thanksgiving safely, of course, and experience Thanksgiving together. What about you, Abby?
I love that. I feel like for me, it feels like Christmas time is here. In 2020, Christmas time could not have come too soon.
Sure.
So we got our tree up yesterday. We are ready for the Christmas season.
For sure. Let's take a look at some of the things that some of you said that you're thankful for.
What do you got to say?
So first, I gotta start off with someone who said they are thankful for Mexican food and Disney Plus.
Disney Plus?
Yes, Disney Plus.
Okay.
Gotta be thankful for that.
So what do you think they are watching on Disney Plus?
I mean, if you're on Disney Plus, you gotta be watching The Mandalorian. That's what I'm saying.
Is that like Star Wars or something?
It is for sure Star Wars, and I know everyone's watching Baby Yoda. I already know.
I've got like 2 little kids, so I feel like we just watch Moana and Frozen over and over on Disney Plus. All right, let's see. We have, I love this one. Okay, so Barb said she is so thankful that she got to take her 93-year-old mother to get her Christmas tree yesterday.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. I'm glad to hear that, Barb. Let's look at another one. Evie said that she is thankful for her team, her church, her family, her friends, all of those who love her, flaws and all.
Man.
Wow.
It's like a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, lots to be thankful for there.
Yeah, let's see. We had somebody who said she is thankful. This is so good. She's thankful for not screwing up dinner. This was my first time cooking everything on my own.
Yeah, it's easy to mess things up for Thanksgiving.
Like a Thanksgiving fail. What was like have you ever had a Thanksgiving fail?
Oh, Abby. I don't know if I can say this online, but I tried to microwave a turkey. I was very young. I was naive. I didn't know any better. I was just trying to help my mom out with Thanksgiving. I was trying to be that good son. She called me before it was too late. But I tried to microwave a turkey.
I feel like I have so many questions. Like, how big was your microwave? Like, how are you fitting a turkey in the microwave? Did you eat it?
I don't know. My mom called me. She took care of everything, so we were able to eat a safe turkey. This was not this year, by the way. I want to make sure that's clear.
I was much younger. It was 2 days ago.
Yeah, much younger.
Oh, yeah, let's see. We have Shahida and Tom said they're so thankful for health and how truly blessed that they are.
Wow, that's so awesome. Danny said that she is grateful to be on the J team, and huge shout out to production. What? And she's just blessed to upload the podcast and serve here at the Journey.
J team, best team.
Yes, J team. Shout out to everyone who's serving on our J team. I know that we're both thankful for all that you're doing here at the Journey.
We had somebody share with us this morning that they are thankful for, get this, stuffing. Carbs are life.
I'm thankful for stuffing, but actually I'm more thankful for mac and cheese. Where the mac and cheese heads at.
Mac and cheese?
Yes.
Dude, somebody else actually had said Thanksgiving mac and cheese. I've never had mac and cheese on Thanksgiving.
They know what's up. They know where it's at.
Is that like that's a thing?
It's more important than the turkey. We can talk about that after the pre-show.
More important than the turkey.
But I think, are you ready for the gathering?
I'm ready.
All right. So we have a couple of things. That was everything that we had to share with you all, but we want to lead into worship right now.
I love that. And so here's my favorite thing about worship. And right now you get to worship wherever you are, a living room, a car, watching in the kitchen. And the greatest thing about worship is it's our way to get our eyes off of everything that is happening around us, our biggest problems, our circumstances. And we just get to get our eyes on God, and we get to celebrate who He is and how grateful we are for Him. So let's get ready, Journey, to worship together.
journey, welcome to church. Hey, we are so thankful for you. We're grateful that you're joining us wherever you are. Together, we're going to give thanks to our God. Thank Him for the gift of life, the gift of love, and just for being here today. Amen. Come on. Little by little, I'm seeing your glory as I look into your eyes. Moment by moment, I'm living to know you, and I'll leave all else behind. In a world living upside down, you turn it right side up, you turn it right side up. Nothing better than the love I found. I'm dancing in your light, I'm dancing in your light, 'cause nothing else can satisfy. You are the prize, you are the prize. You're all I want for my whole life. You are the prize, you are the prize. Hey! You are the prize. Jesus, forever, I want your presence. What compares to who you are? Nothing can stop me. I'm chasing you only. God, I'm clinging to your heart. In a world living upside down, you turn it right side up, you turn it right side up. Nothing better than the love I found. I'm dancing in your light, I'm dancing in your light, 'cause nothing else can satisfy. You are the prize, you are the prize. You're all I want for my whole life. You are the prize, you are the prize. Yeah. You are the prize. Yes, you are. Hey, wherever you are, sing this part out. Say, I'll follow you anywhere you lead, 'cause you are the treasure that I seek. Jesus, you're everything I need. Oh, I'll follow you anywhere you lead, 'cause you are the treasure that I seek. Jesus, you're everything I need. Oh, 'cause nothing else can satisfy. You are the prize, you are the prize. You're all I want for my whole life. You are the prize, you are the prize. Nothing else can satisfy. You are the prize, you are the prize. You're all I want for my whole life. You are the prize, you are the prize. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You are the prize. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are the prize. Oh, there's no like you. Come on, wherever you're at this morning, sing it out with us. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you,
worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keep, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Yeah, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keep, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are here, you're touching every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, you're mending every heart, and I worship you, I worship you. And you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. And we sing, oh, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, oh, that is who you are. We believe it. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. And that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Come on, would you declare it this morning? That is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. It's who you are. Oh, never fail. So come on, whatever you're believing for here today, whether it's breakthrough in your life, whether it's a job situation, a relationship to work out, let's have the faith today to believe that we have a God who can make a way in any situation. So sing it out with me right here, even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the
Well, what's up, Journey fam? What an incredible time of worshiping together. We are so excited that you decided to join us this weekend for Church Online. And we have just a few things to share with you before the message.
Man, I love being able to worship together. And we've got Pastor Mark in the house. You're going to hear a message from him in just a few minutes as we continue our series, Didn't See That Coming. But listen, you still have an opportunity to share this with everybody you know, all right? So click that share button, let them know that you're gathering with us this weekend, and invite them to do the same.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we want is just to connect with you, to hear from you. And the simplest way to do that is simply to fill out a Connect card. You can do that by heading to connectwithus.tv, and there you can let us know some information about you, share any prayer requests, or just let us know that it's your first time here. And if you are a first-time guest, a huge welcome to you, and we want to send you a very special gift just to say thanks for checking us out. We're so glad that you came and tried us out for the first time.
I love that. And listen, we have people who are standing by ready to pray with you. So if you'd like somebody to pray with you today, just head to online.yourjourney.tv. We've got a whole team of people there who would love to do that. And for all of you parents and kids out there, we've got a Journey Kids Thanksgiving weekend extravaganza family gathering, all right? That's quite a mouthful to say, but we've got an experience for all of you families out there right after this gathering at 11 a.m. So just head to journeykids.tv and stick around for that.
Yeah, and I know that many of us are still recovering from Thanksgiving this past Thursday. And one of the things that I love so much about Thanksgiving is that everyone gets to play a role. Everyone has a job to play to make Thanksgiving come off without missing a beat.
Yeah, I love that. So Anthony shared in our pre-show that he has once tried to bring a microwave turkey to Thanksgiving. So you might want to choose a different guest. But I love the way it's supposed to work is somebody brings the turkey, somebody brings the mashed potatoes, somebody brings the corn, and we put them all together, and it makes this incredible feast. And I think that's true of our J team. Everybody brings their gifts. Everybody brings a little something, and we get to do this as a result. And that's what I love so much about our J team.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I would love to share is that our J team had the opportunity to give away over 1,000 Hope Totes. We got to do that to make sure that those who were in need got to have a Thanksgiving and have all the things that they needed to have a great and safe dinner.
I love that. And that's what our J team is all about, just using our gifts to serve and make a difference in the world around us. And if you haven't taken that next step yet to join our team, this weekend could be your weekend. Our church exists because of our J teamers. They really are the heroes of our church, and we'd love to have you as part of the J team fam. So all you got to do is text plugged in to 94,000 and we'll help you get started.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you all taking a next step and making a difference. But that's all that we have. So let's head into week 4 of Didn't See That Coming.
Welcome, everybody, to Real Church for Real People. I'm so glad you're joining us today, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or yourjourney.tv. A very, very happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope yours was meaningful, although I know it looked different for many of us this year. I had a great Thanksgiving, and if you're looking at me saying, well, I bet you did, hey, the camera adds 10 pounds, all right? So I'm just blaming the camera today, but I'm very glad all of you are here, and especially if you're joining us for the first time. Maybe you were invited by a friend this past week, or you stumbled across us on social media. Welcome to the journey, and I hope you have a great experience over the next few minutes. We are wrapping up a series that we've called Didn't See That Coming, and we are gathering online only today. But next weekend, we're back in person at our physical locations. Of course, we'll continue our online gatherings as well. And however you join us, I want you to make plans to be with us next weekend as we kind of officially start the Christmas season and kick off a new series of messages that will wrap up this year. And as we tie a bow on this series that we've been in, which, by the way, if you miss the messages in this series, you can go back and catch up on those on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe and stay up to date with all of our weekend messages. I know many of you are doing that and hoping that's an encouragement to you. But as we wrap up this series, we're kind of shifting gears today. And I want to ask you a question. It's a question that I think may take some thinking about on your part throughout this message. But I want to challenge you today and encourage you with this question: how much is one worth? How much is one worth? And of course, the answer depends on what we're talking about, right? And how many of whatever that thing or thing of value is, how much it's worth depends on how scarce it is or how much access we have to it. For instance, in our house, especially this week, this has been true. Leftovers, are a big deal after Thanksgiving, and we're typically very generous with the leftovers. Here, you have some, you have some. But whenever there's only one of any given thing left, well, the game just changes in our house, and family members square off. Tupperware containers get hidden in obscure parts of the fridge as everybody's trying to protect that one last scoop of mashed potatoes or that one last piece of pumpkin pie. And so when we only have one, suddenly things become more valuable, more important. Yet, there are other things in life, it doesn't matter how many we have or don't have, they always still hold value. Kids, for instance, no good parent says to their spouse, hey, now that we have several kids, we could live without that one. No, that's not good parenting. And one is always valuable when it comes to certain things in our lives. And what we would be willing to do for one depends on how much one is worth to us. And that brings up the question, really the more important question: how much is one person worth to God? How much is one person worth to God? So wherever you are spiritually, wherever you land when it comes to faith, if you believe that there is a God out there somewhere and that he has some love, some interest in human beings that he created, then the question is, how much is one person worth to this God? Well, over the past few months, I've been drawn over and over again to three stories that Jesus told in the book of Luke in the New Testament of the Bible that address this very question: how much is one worth? And Jesus tells these stories three in a row to illustrate, to make it clear why he came and what matters most to God. That's what these three stories are all about. How much is one worth? Here's the first one. This is in Luke chapter 15. Jesus says, if a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, just one, what will he do? Now, in Jesus' time, people took care of sheep a lot. That was a very common occupation. They were called shepherds, and it was very common in that time. And if you weren't a shepherd, you didn't take care of sheep, you were familiar at least with people who did. On your commute to work every day, you would pass shepherds taking care of sheep. So everybody kind of knew what Jesus was talking about. And he asked this question: if a man has 100 sheep and one, just one, gets lost, what will he do? And we're on the edge of our seats right away as we listen to this story Jesus is telling. And we know that the answer to the question, what will he do, will reveal the value of one sheep to this guy in the story. We're about to find out how much is one worth. And we also get the sense right away that the sheep represent us, right? They represent people, and that specifically one sheep who's lost represents a person who is spiritually lost, searching, wandering, stuck in life, trying to make sense of their world and the universe. And And they're lost. They don't have a life-giving relationship with God. So right away, we're on the edge of our seat as Jesus tells this story, because we're about to find out how much is one worth. When my wife Susie and I we're first starting this church that became the journey, it didn't happen very fast. We really had way more failure than success in the beginning, and we'd been working for a while to get things off the ground, trying to get the wheels rolling and gather people together and do something that would lead to a real church that was making a difference. And one night we were at an event, and a pastor approached me with an opportunity to come on staff at what was at the time a much larger church, a church that had been doing great things, had been growing, it was very stable and making a difference in their community, a church that Susie and I would have loved to be a part of, honestly. And on the drive home, I told Susie about this offer, this opportunity, and she was like, wow, that's amazing. We were young, and it seemed like it was a very high level position on staff at this church that we were being offered, and it just seemed like almost too good to be true, just an amazing opportunity. And I told her about it, and we drove home in silence after that, just kind of weighing these two options. Do we stay with this thing that doesn't seem to be working, that some of our dreams honestly are getting dashed and we're not seeing the results we wanted to see? Or do we jump ship, but to be a part of something that is working? And we were kind of thinking about that on the drive home. And when we got home late that night, we had this decision we knew we had to make. Now, at the time, we didn't have very many sheep, so to speak. We didn't have a lot of people in our church. We really only had a handful. And one of them, his name was Brian. And Brian came to our little gathering that we were doing at the time every other week or so. But we were really trying to get the message of Jesus into Brian's life and build a relationship with him and tell him about the plans that we knew God had for his life. And so we're driving home that night. We get home and we walk into our house, Susie and I, and we sat down in the living room on the couch, kind of turned toward each other, and we looked each other in the eyes. And Susie asked one question that honestly is the reason I'm here right now and not somewhere else. Sitting in our living room that night, looking at each other, thinking about this incredible opportunity we had just been offered, Susie asked me this question: what about Brian? If we leave, what happens to Brian? So we stayed for the one. That night, we discovered how much one was worth to us. And Jesus asked this question: if a man has 100 sheep and one gets lost, what will he do? And then he answers his own question. He doesn't wait for people to kick some theories around. He says, won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go to search, listen to this, for the one? We just found out how much one is worth. He's going to go search for the one that is lost until he finds it. Jesus is talking about why he came. Let me tell you something about Jesus today. And again, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, listen closely. Jesus came for the one who is lost, the one who is searching, the one who feels purposeless and empty and can't make sense of their life. He came for the one who is broken and going through struggle. And he came for the one who seems to have success from the outside looking in, but inside they're broken and life isn't working. Jesus came for the one who can't find their way. He leaves the 99 for the one. And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. And when he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors, saying, rejoice with me because I have found my lost sheep. Now, if Jesus is talking about himself here, if he's telling us why he came, that he carries lost sheep home, that he rescues those who are searching and purposeless and empty, then who are the friends and neighbors that he's talking about? I think the answer very clearly is we are. See, Jesus searches for people who are lost, and when he finds those who are lost, and many of us have experienced this, he places us on his shoulders, so to speak. He takes personal responsibility for us, and he wraps us in his arms, and he carries us home. But then he doesn't stop there. He calls together his friends and neighbors to party like it's 2019. And he says, hey, I have found the lost one. I found the one I was looking for. That's how much one matters to God. So then the question becomes, if that's how much one matters to God, how much does one matter to us? And if one matters to us anywhere near as much as one matters to God, then this is what a gathering of believers is supposed to look like. This is what church is supposed to be all about. Jesus says, in the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. Now, maybe you're skeptical or even a little uncomfortable with Jesus referring to people as lost sinners. Maybe that rubs you the wrong way a little bit. Doesn't seem perhaps politically correct, or doesn't seem like it's, as nicely worded as we might want it to be. And yet, when you think about it another way, it reveals how much one matters to Jesus. See, to Jesus, one is worth everything. He will leave everything for the one. You are worth everything. And with that in mind, we jump into Jesus' second story. Here's what he says. Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses, there it is again, just one. So now we have a guy who has 100 sheep and one gets lost. And now we have a woman who has 10 silver coins, which would have been very valuable to her in her culture, and she loses one. So the same question applies. What will she do? Jesus says, won't she light a lamp and sweep the entire house, listening for the clink of a coin against the hard surface of her floor? She will search carefully until she finds it. This one silver coin, just like the one sheep in the first story, is lost. But in this case, the silver isn't lost out there somewhere. It's lost in the house. Did you know that you can spend your life around other people who believe in Jesus, and you can maybe go through religious motions and even attend church, even be a part of a church at some level, and still be disconnected from God? You could be like this silver coin and be lost in the house. You're in proximity to what God is doing and people who believe in God, but you're disengaged. You're under a couch. You're covered in cobwebs. You're not really living out your faith, and you're still lost. And maybe that's where you are. So maybe that's where you find yourself. You consider yourself a Christian, but your faith isn't very strong right now. And this year, 2020, has left you feeling more lost than ever. And if that's you, there's hope, because this woman doesn't just accept that, well, at least the coin's somewhere in the house. No, she stops everything. She lights a lamp. She sweeps the house. She searches carefully for the one. And Jesus is doing the same thing for you. And when she finds it, she will do what the guy in the first story did, call her friends and neighbors and say, rejoice with me. Come on, let's celebrate. Let's throw a party, because I have found the one. I have found my lost coin. There's a guy who's a part of the journey who has become a friend to me over this past year. We met in a J group, a small group that I help lead, and he's been gathering here for a few years, but from his own mouth and his own words, at first, he really wasn't involved. He wasn't engaged. He stayed on the fringes, like I think a lot of people do around church at first. And he liked to come on the weekend. The message was encouraging, but he really didn't go any further than that. He heard about getting connected, but he always thought, well, that's just not for me. I understand some people need that, but I'm good. But as some things began to happen in his life, he started to realize, hey, I think I need more. I think I need to grow spiritually. I need to go beyond just coming on the weekend. And so he took the step and he joined a group. And he told me this year, he said, I had no idea what I was missing. Mark, I can't even fathom that I spent so long on the fringes, because when I took that step and I really got engaged and involved with a spiritual family and a community of faith, I began to grow and God really began to work in my life. And as I think about that, I think if there's just one person listening to this right now, if there's just one of you who is, you consider yourself a believer, you consider yourself a Christian, but you're living life on the fringes, you're like this silver coin, you're in the house, but you're not really connected, then I hope this message today can be like a lamp that gets lit in your life, like a broom that comes kind of sweeping through your life today to encourage you that you are worth searching for and that God has more for you. You don't have to spend the rest of your life on the fringes. You are worth it because one is worth everything. Listen, you're worth everything to God. And he doesn't just want you to have proximity, to just kind of be around what he's doing. He wants you to come into a full place of connection and engagement with the purpose that he has for your life. And now we come to the last and the longest of Jesus' 3 stories in Luke 15. And I think the one that spells it out the clearest. Jesus says, a man had 2 sons, and the younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now before you die. So in this time, the older son would get 2/3, the younger son would get 1/3, but they didn't get the inheritance, obviously, until their dad had passed away. So the younger son basically says to his dad, hey, I wish you were already dead. And Jesus' audience would have gasped at that. They would say, well, I didn't see that coming. Who says that to their father? But interestingly enough, the father agreed. He divided his wealth between his sons, and a few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings, took everything that he now had as a result of receiving the inheritance early, and he moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living. So watch this now. We have 100 sheep, and just one, gets lost. We have 10 silver coins, and just one, gets lost. And now we have 2 sons, and one leaves home, and we get the sense that he is now lost. Youngest son says to his dad, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't need God. I don't need you. I don't need a family around me. I'm out. I'm gone. And he leaves, and he wastes all he's been given. And then listen to this. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land. Things changed. Everything became uncertain. And he didn't see it coming, but he couldn't rely on what he thought he could rely on. And he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. So the young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him, but no one gave him anything. So when he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. So I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. Now, I want you to notice this. The shepherd searches for the one lost sheep. The woman searches for the one lost coin. But in this story, the dad just waits. He stays, doesn't search, doesn't sweep. He waits for his son to come to his senses. The dad knows if I go looking for my son prematurely, he's not going to be ready. He's just going to continue to reject me. He made it clear he didn't want anything to do with me. And if I sweep the house, he's not here. He's no longer connected to me and to what I'm doing. I'm just going to have to wait until my son comes to his senses. My story is, when I was a kid, my mom faithfully took me to church, and I believed in God. Like a lot of us, we have some kind of maybe exposure in our lives to church or religion or faith, or we had a family member who believed, and that was me. I went to church, and I believed in God, but when I became a teenager, I turned my back on my faith. I didn't think I needed God. And I got in trouble a lot in school. In fact, I was suspended 3 times by the end of 9th grade and skipped over 30 days of school, my first year of high school. And on the outside, I acted like I didn't care. Everything was great. I was just kind of blowing everything off. And on the inside, things weren't right inside of me. And one night, late at night, when I was 15 years old, I came to my senses. And I had this overwhelming need, lying in my bed late one night. I had this overwhelming need, this sense, I need God. I want to come home to God. I don't even know exactly what that looks like or if he'll have me. I felt like the son in this story. I don't even know if he'll take me back, but I want to come home to God. And that night, I put my faith in Jesus for real. And I gave my life over to Jesus Christ because I came to my senses. And I came home. And that may be some of us. We know about God. And if we're honest, like God's kind of marked our lives. Like we know we can never be completely fulfilled and satisfied outside of a real life-giving relationship with God, but we've turned our back on him. We've taken what God has given us. We've taken it for granted, and honestly, we've wasted it on this world. Maybe we're even wasting it right now, wasting our lives on a world that's not going to last. And if that's you, this may mess with you, but you need to know God isn't searching for you. And God isn't sweeping the house looking for you. God's waiting for you. He's waiting for you to come to your senses. He's waiting for you to realize that you need him, that you need to come home. And when you come to your senses, that's what can happen. You can come home to God. You weren't meant to live life separated from your Father in heaven. You were meant to have a real relationship with God. And in this story, the son returned home to his father. And I love this. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. The father was waiting and he was watching for the moment when his son would come home. And filled with love and compassion, the father ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. It's this warm, intimate moment of joy and relief. And his son said to him, he started his speech that he prepared in advance. Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I'm no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to the servants, quick, bring the finest robe. Interrupted him mid-sentence and said, bring the finest robe in the house, put it on him, get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. So the party, Jesus says, began. I mean, the son hasn't even gotten all the words out of his mouth when the dad calls for the servants and says, hey, get the robe, get the ring, get the Reeboks, get the roast beef ready. My son who was dead is returned to life. My son, the one who was lost, is found. And then the party began. Why? Because one is worth everything. But just one is worth everything to God. You are worth everything to God. And this is what church is all about, or at least it's what it's supposed to be all about. It gets complicated sometimes when we bring our baggage and our ideas and our opinions and our preferences into church. But Jesus strips all of that away and says, let me tell you what church is supposed to be all about. It's a party to celebrate lost sheep being found and lost silver coins being restored and lost sons and daughters who've come home. This is what it's all about. This is why we serve J-Team. This is why we give our lives away for all of you serving on the J-Team, especially this year in the midst of all the uncertainty. Let me remind you why, through the words of Jesus, we are servants. We serve so the Father always has someone to call to. Go, get the robe, get the ring, get the sandals, get the party ready, because one is coming home. If you're lost, you can be found today. You can come home. The Father's waiting, and there's a spiritual family who will celebrate your return. Now, if you're still trying to figure things out, if you're thinking, I'm not ready to take a step like that to start following Jesus, maybe you just kind of stumbled on us today, or you're still trying to figure everything out, then let me encourage you. I'm not here to twist your arm. Just come back next weekend. Just take steps in the direction of home, of God, and see what God does. But then there may be others of you watching right now that you know you are ready. You've come to your senses. Maybe even over the past few minutes it's hit you. And I am that son in the story. I need to come home to God. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to take that step in just a few minutes. You are worth it. But first, I want to speak to all of us who are found. We are in a relationship with God. Now, maybe we're struggling. Maybe we have problems. I know I do this year. But the reality is, even though I have problems as a follower of Jesus, my biggest problem was solved that night when I was 15 years old. Now, I've never had a problem in my life that compared to the problem of not knowing Jesus, of not being in right relationship with God. And that night when I was 15, I was lost, but then I was found. God showed mercy and grace to me, and now I know Jesus. I don't live a perfect life. I don't always make perfect decisions, but I am a follower of Jesus. And if you've put your faith in Jesus, so are you. And the good news is you'll never have a problem in your life anywhere near as big as the problem that God has already solved for you by giving his son to die for your sins. But now the big question in your life is not, how am I going to solve all these other problems? Really, the big question that God has for you is, how much is one going to be worth to you? You see, how much one is worth to me, how much is one worth to you? 2 weeks from now, December 12th and 13th, as a community of faith, we're going to have an opportunity to be a part of our Christmas offering. We do this every year. This year it has an urgency to it and a weight to it, and an opportunity that I feel like we never had before because of what's going on in our world, that we have this chance to be generous toward what matters to God, above and beyond our usual giving. And if you're not a follower of Jesus yet, I want you to know what comes next is not a request for your money. There's no expectation that you give anything. It's probably not your next step. But for all of us who know Jesus, and I know we have problems, we got issues, but for all of us that our biggest problem has already been solved when God gave his son for us and we came home. This year we have an opportunity through our Christmas offering to give for the one. Because our biggest problem's already been solved, we have the opportunity to help solve that problem for somebody else beyond our current walls and our current ministries. We have an opportunity to make a difference. And here's what we can do together as we all participate in the Christmas offering this year. This is an opportunity that God's given us to be generous, and we have 3 points of passion around our Christmas offering. Here's the first one. We can meet a real need in our region. The first thing we can do as we wrap up this year and head into 2021 is meet the needs of people who physically, not only spiritually perhaps separated from God, but physically in need. And we've identified, for several months, we've been asking the question, what are the greatest needs in our region, tangible needs that we can meet? And over again, what we've come across, our Code Red pastor, our outreach pastor, and the team have said over and over again, it's food. We have so many people, tens of thousands of people within Journey City, what we call Journey City, a 30-mile radius of where I'm standing right now. So many people are hungry and don't have consistent access to quality food. And many of those are families with young children. We can feed people. And you've already been doing this, so you know. In fact, just this past week, you helped feed 1,000 families in our region through what we call Hope Totes. We gave every one of those 1,000 families a bag full of food, good quality food, to help feed their family the week of Thanksgiving. And as we head into 2021, we can do more. We can do more. We have an opportunity to do something big together. We want to build a food distribution center on the back of our Newark location so that we can continue to feed for years to come, tens of thousands of families in our region. And when you participate in our Christmas offering, you will help fund that. Now, we can feed thousands, but we would do it for the one. Here's the second point of passion for our Christmas offering this year. After we create a food distribution center, we want to begin to answer a prayer that Jesus told us to pray, to be a part of answering a prayer request that Jesus had. Here's what Jesus said: the harvest is great. There are a lot of people who need God, and a lot of people who would come to faith in me, Jesus said, but the problem is the workers are few. We don't have enough workers. We don't have enough people willing to go into the field. So he said, pray for more workers. And we want to help answer that prayer request by investing in developing leaders who will give their lives away for the cause of Jesus, who could do a lot of other things, but will say, hey, I'm going to give the best of my gifts and my abilities away to reach others and to lead people. We're going to invest in Highlands College in Birmingham, Alabama. We have a vision together with Highlands College that within the next 3 to 4 years, we could put 1,000 young men and women into full-time ministry every year around the world and offer scholarships and create a way that we can do that. We're going to invest in Potential, our own leadership intensive, right here at the Journey, so that we can raise up leaders for years to come to serve in our region and beyond. Leaders like Courtney, who went through Potential and grew in her leadership gift, never realized that God had a plan for her life at such an incredible level. And this coming January, she's moving to Los Angeles to be a part of the Dream Center to serve people experiencing homelessness full-time because of her experience and potential. We're changing the world together. And when you participate in our Christmas offering, you will fund that. Now, we're going to raise up thousands of leaders in the years to come, God willing. But would you agree? We would do it for the one. And then here's the third thing we want to do together. We have been working on a strategy to help more people find Jesus and follow him fully in our region through online ministry. And we've been streaming our gatherings, but we want to take it up a level to really begin reaching people who don't have access to a physical location, whether it's during this season of COVID-19 or they don't live close to one, and begin getting the message of Jesus into places in our region where we can go digitally before we can go physically. Set the stage for more locations physically in the future by reaching people online, connecting people, adults, students, kids, families. People like Eric, who found us online a few months ago. Actually, his girlfriend found us and invited him, and they both started watching online. They've never been to a physical location, but they've been watching online, and it's brought Jesus into their lives. It's changing their lives. And when you participate in our Christmas offering, you can fund that, and you can help us make a big difference in our region and reach more people who need Jesus. Now, we're going to reach thousands of people, God willing, in the years to come, but we would do it for the one. Because we're answering the question that God has for every person who believes in his son, Jesus. He's shown us how much one is worth to him. Now he just wants to know, how much is one worth to you? And my heart for every one of us as we get ready to wrap up 2020, which I'm looking forward to a new year, but my heart for every one of us is that we would participate in this Christmas offering together, that whatever the amount, whether it's everybody's in a different place, whatever the amount is, that we would pray, we would listen to God, and then we would do what he leads us to do so that we can make a difference, because one is worth everything. And we just want to show God out of gratitude. Nobody twisting our arm, nobody forcing us to do it. We want to show God out of our deep gratitude. Hey, God, you found me when I was lost. My biggest problem has been solved. I'm going to live my life to solve the biggest problem for somebody else. I may never even meet them until I get to heaven, but I'm going to do it for the one, because this is what it means to be a follower of Jesus, to embrace his heart, to bring salvation and hope to the one. You are that one. Now you get to live your life in a way that shows you get it. This is how much one is worth. And I want to encourage you right now just to block out every distraction. Just get everything else out of your mind and your heart. Let me lead you in prayer. You're a follower of Jesus, or maybe you've forgotten how much one is worth. Would you pray with me right now? Father, we come to you and we're reminded what you did to save us. God, we've gotten preoccupied, frustrated, complacent because of all the other stuff competing for our attention. So right now, this Thanksgiving weekend, we give you thanks for saving us. And we pray that you will show us how to live like you lived, Jesus, for the one. And God, through our Christmas offering and the continued ministry of this church, throughout our region, throughout our world, help us make a difference for you. In Jesus' name. And maybe for some of you today, you are that lost sheep. You are that lost silver coin. You are that lost son or daughter. And if that's you today, I want you to know you really can come home. You really can have a life-giving relationship with God. You don't have to keep hiding. You can be done with all of that. You don't have to wait a moment longer. When you put your faith in Jesus and what he has done to save you, your biggest problem will be solved. Doesn't mean all your problems will be solved, but your biggest one will be solved, and then you can face any problem. When you have Jesus, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. And if that's you today, if you want to begin a real relationship with God right where you are, I want to lead you in a very simple prayer. You can use my words if it helps you, but I want to encourage you right where you are to whisper out a prayer of faith, something like this. Come on, this is your moment. Don't miss it. Pray with faith. Jesus, today I give my life to you. I'm coming home. I run to you. I come to my senses right now. I need you. Forgive my sins. Save me. I don't want to live another moment without you in my life. I believe in you. And if that's you today, I want you to know I'm celebrating with you right now. As you come home, as you run to the Father.
I've carried a burden for too long on my own, and I wasn't created to bear mercy is calling out. And just as I am, oh, you pull me in, and I know I need you now. My heart has been in your sights long before my first breath, running into your arms is running to life from death. And I feel this rush deep in my chest. Your mercy is calling out. And just as I am, God, you pull me in, and I know I need you now. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart found a surgeon, my soul found a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, 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 again and again. Oh, 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 again and again.
Wow, what an incredible way to wrap up this series. We're so glad that you chose to join us online for this weekend's gathering. And if you put your faith in Jesus for the very first time, firstly, congratulations. We would love to celebrate that with you. And we would love for you to just indicate that on that Connect card. You can head to connectwithus.tv and let us know. We'd love to send you a new believer's Bible to help you out as you begin this journey. And then again, if this was your first time checking us out, let us know that as well. We would love to send you a small gift just to say thanks for checking us out for the very first time.
Yeah, and before you leave this weekend, we want to encourage you. You have an opportunity to give. And here's what I love about giving. It's our opportunity to partner with God and the work that He's doing. And I love what Pastor Mark shared, that every time we give, we're giving to the one. Our giving makes an impact in the one who doesn't know Jesus yet, the one who's lost or broken. I think about this idea that because somebody else gave, I get to be here. Because somebody else gave, you get to experience this gathering online. And so if you'd like to give with us this weekend and partner with God in the work that He's doing, it's really simple. All you have to do is text GIVETJ to 94,000 or just head to the Journey app.
Now, giving is one of the ways that you can help to change lives. And another simple way is to simply share this message, share this life-giving message with your friends and family. You can do that online on your social media page, and then also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's an easy way to stay connected and stay up to date on all the things that's happening here at The Journey.
Yeah, I think it's never been easier to help change somebody's life by just clicking that share button. Let somebody else share, letting somebody else know about this. And you heard Pastor Mark mention this, but we are going to have an opportunity to gather again in person starting next weekend. So this past week, we have been working with state officials, and we have received the A-OK to keep gathering together in person safely, wisely, and well. We'll continue social distancing, using a mask, but we'll be able to gather at Newark and Hocassin next weekend. And for all of you who enjoy joining us online, we will be live online Saturday at 5 and then Sunday at 9, 10:30, and noon. Now, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, all of you families out there, Journey Kids, we got one big Journey Kids family gathering happening right now. Your hosts are going to be dropping a link in the chat, and you can join us right now at journeykids.com.
Yeah, I love that. And don't miss out on the extravaganza, just like Abby said. But that's all that we have for you all. Thanks so much for joining us online. Have a great rest of your day and
enjoy the
journey.